got a few messages that said, "Prof, I didn't know you were into that stuff." And I was like, "But I'm a boy. I have feelings."
Hello my otaku friends, my name is Prof Otaku and welcome back to my channel for my November manga haul. So the theme of this manga haul is massive reprints. We saw some major series get a lot of their volumes reprinted and I got some amazing used Facebook deals. You want to stick around for this one. Stay tuned. So this first section here are going to be all the completed series that I picked up. This first one was from Reddit Manga Swap. I got it for 50% off cover price, brand new, which just blew my mind, and that is Children of the Sea. So this is a 5-volume series published by Viz Media in these beautiful Viz signature editions. And the story is quite an interesting one. It follows these group of kids in this aquarium as they discover the mystery of this world, which is all the fish in the sea have disappeared. I've only heard really great things about this series. I know that Igarashi Sensei is a staple in the manga community. The artwork looks fantastic, and honestly, I'm super excited to get into this because I know this is a harder series to find as of late. It is pretty out of stock. Next up in the completed or up-to-date manga set grabs, we have The Eminence in Shadow 1 to 5. This is actually the manga adaptation, so the light novels, the original source material, the anime just came out to very high acclaim, and I decided to go a different route with this. I decided to go with the manga because I heard that all three, the light novel, the anime, and the manga, all have really different vibes with the jokes, and I heard that the jokes land a little bit better with the manga and the anime, so I decided to go ahead and go with this. There's a lot more inner monologues with the light novel from what I heard, and it just wasn't something that I really wanted to get into. But for those of you who don't know, this is an isekai manga following our main character who doesn't want to be the protagonist of like the final boss in this new world. He wants to be the mastermind, the guy who works in the shadows and kind of is like the chess player who's like bringing all the pieces around. But yeah, I've been looking to get into more comedy isekai, so this is right up my alley. Next up is a 15-volume shoujo beat series. This is something I never expected to pick up, but I just found such a great deal on Facebook actually, and that is High School Debut. So Sukinoto said a lot of great things about this manga, which is why I picked it up, and especially this mangaka duo who's the same duo who did My Love Story. But for those of you who don't know, it follows a high school couple here. This girl right here who really wants a boyfriend, but she has a little bit trouble in love. So she employs the help of this male main character here, and he tells her, look, the only way I'm going to go ahead and help you out here is if you do not fall in love with me. But of course it's a rom-com, so of course interesting things ensue. So this manga series comes in 5 3-in-1 omnibuses, and honestly I really like the spines. I think they look great. I love the colors. I think that the condition is really good for a used manga series, so hopefully this gets reprinted at some point in the future. And the last series in this section that I picked up, 17 volumes from the Right Stuff winter sale the very first week, we have Yona and the Haunted Hot Springs. So this is a ghost ship title. I've never gotten a ghost ship title before, so we're diving into unfamiliar territory. And I remember when I posted that I was getting this on Instagram, I got a few messages that said, "Prof, I didn't know you were into that stuff," and I was like, but I'm a boy, I have feelings. So with that information in mind, you can probably put together why I picked this series up, but if you don't know what this series is about, it's got supernaturals, it has cute girls, it has hot springs, it has this guy, this high school boy who goes into this hot spring and then he starts interacting with all the ghosts there. Seems like a lot of fun, rom-com harem, so I am super excited to check this out. So I've read several harem series at this point in my reading career, including Quintessential Quintuplets and We Never Learn, and I'm hoping that this new kind of vibe with the supernatural harem gets me through some of the more annoying tropes of harem rom-com series. So this next section here is going to be all the reprinted manga. This was just such a great month for manga publishers to put out new reprints of some classic manga, so if you've had your eyes on any of these series, definitely go ahead and place your orders now. First up here is an omnibus complete edition of No Longer Human. This is based off of the novel by Osamu Dazai, and then the adaptation is done by Usamaru Furuya. Now most of us have read the adaptation of No Longer Human by Junji Ito. I read it as well. I didn't personally care for it, so why did I go ahead and double dip with this series? And that's because I heard this was the quintessential adaptation for this novel series. I'm super excited to see what Furuya does with the adaptation. I heard he just takes some different lights with some of the characters and just the whole way the story progresses, so super excited for this one. But I'm gonna balance reading this when when I'm like watching some sort of happy anime or something, because I know I'm just gonna get super depressed. So next up here is a huge reprinting of a classic manga series, Slam Dunk by Takahiko Inoue. I have volumes 1, 2, 9, 10, 12, 19, 27, 30, and 31. So I placed my order for this series back in like April of 2021, and we're just now seeing the reprints. I patiently waited and I patiently was rewarded. Now, yes, some of the prints are the Italian prints, but from the looks of it, honestly, the printing isn't too bad. Thankfully, they've lined up the spine, so it does look pretty good on the shelf. You know, I've never read any Takahiko Inoue's works. I have the first 3 volumes of Real, I have all 37 volumes of Vagabond, now I have the first 2 volumes of Slam Dunk. I really just need to go ahead and read some of his stuff and then do like a first impressions or something. I've just like always avoided reading some of the super staple series in manga. I don't know why. Like, I haven't read Berserk, I haven't read Poon Poon, I haven't read Grand Blue Dreaming, and I think it's because I'm scared to like really enjoy these series and then like hate everything else in my collection. Continuing on the shoujo beat train, we continue to get reprints of 2 classic and staple manga in the shoujo community. We have Yona of the Dawn. We got reprints of volumes 4, 12, 16, 18, 29, 30, and 33, as well as Nana. We got volumes 6, 7, 13, and 15. Both of these are classic shoujo series. Yona of the Dawn is a political fantasy series, and Nana is more of a realistic drama series. So I've only heard fantastic things about them. Now I have very good, solid chunks at the beginning. I think I have the first 7 volumes of Nana and the first 6 volumes of Yona of the Dawn. So I think it's about time I go ahead and start reading these things, because honestly, out of like all the genres in manga other than like horror, I really just don't read enough shoujo, and I really want to in 2023. This next section here are the hardcovers. Only 2 hardcovers, but some really cool pickups. This first one is Steam Reverie in Amber. So this is a really interesting specialty book by 7 Seas. Really beautiful, but this is actually a steampunk art book, and so it's got a bunch of steampunk stuff in here, but it also intermixes with a manga. So there is a manga story in here, and also along with this there are tarot cards as well that you can pull out, 22 of them actually, with beautiful artwork, steampunk anime girls. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, I've already seen a flip through. Go ahead and check out Weeabro's Reel on Instagram. He shows a great view of what's going on in this book, but I highly recommend it. A beautiful production by 7 Seas. Super glad that we're getting really unique stuff like this, because I think that manga and anime, yes, they're great, but there's so much cool stuff out there that I want to see get published in 2023. And for the last hardcover, we have Blade of the Immortal Volume 7. So we're almost done with these. We're gonna have 10 of these in total, but yes, Blade of the Immortal, nothing needs to be said about this samurai series. I have read this mangaka's other work, Wave Listen to Me. Really love the artwork, so I'm super excited to dive into this. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and wait till it's all done, and then I'll go ahead and read it all. All right, and for this last section here, we have four massive stacks of single volumes and one-shots that we need to get through. So let's go ahead and rapid fire through these. First up is an omnibus from 7 Seas, Tokyo Revengers Volume 5 and 6. I love the ending of Omnibus 2. It's just phenomenal. What a great, interesting series. I'm very scared that I'm gonna hate this series, especially in that 200 chapter thing, but at least for right now, I'm taking it one omnibus at a time, and I'm really enjoying it. So next up is a light novel series, something I don't normally dive into, but I thought I'd try out this rom-com series. This is Alya Sometimes Hides Her Feelings in Russian, Volume 1. The premise is what got me hooked onto this. So high school rom-com romance, you have this girl who is this Russian beauty and nobody really talks to her, and she's just a quiet girl. She's observing her environment, but she makes comments under her breath in Russian, thinking that nobody can understand her, but actually the boy who sits next to her knows Russian, so he's hearing all these like little revelations that she says. So it seems like it's going to be a lot of funny comedic hijinks, and I can't wait to get into this one. Next up here is Beastars 21. We're almost done. One more volume. This cover looks sick. Once we get the last volume, I'll go ahead and read the whole thing. Speaking of Beastars and speaking of Itagaki Sensei, if you haven't checked out my reading log from last month, I read their newest serializing manga called Sanda, which is basically like a drama thriller about Santa Claus. Highly recommend. Seriously, it's really good. good. Next up is Asadora by Naoki Urasawa. I actually just put out I read all of Naoki Urasawa's manga, and here's the rankings of all 14 of his series. Highly recommend you check out that video. Asadora is in there. So volume 6 starts a new arc. I'm excited to see what this direction's going to be. I have my thoughts on Asadora, so check out that video, but I'm really enjoying this kaiju aspect, and I think that this artwork is some of the best Naoki Urasawa artwork out there so far. Next up is Rooster Fighter Volume 2. I don't know why I picked this up, because honestly, I thought volume 1 was just okay, and this whole vibe of a rooster beating the crap out of monsters, I mean, yes, it's funny, but because it's episodic, I wasn't very invested in the story. This has like Way of the House Husband, boring, monotonous, like maka like all over it, so I'm gonna give it one more volume. If I don't like it, it's being dropped. Next up is a hardcover, which I guess I should have put in the hardcover section, but we have Hayao Miyazaki's Shuna's Journey. This is an older manga. This was published before Nausicaa in the Valley in the Wind. This is actually done by First Second Publications, and I'm super glad that we got this because it's such a unique work. I don't know how to explain what this is. This is done in the third person, and so it's not really a manga. It's more of like a graphic novel, or maybe like a picture book kinda, but it's very well done. I'll talk more about it in my reading log, but this is definitely, if you're into Hayao Miyazaki, you're into Studio Ghibli stuff, this definitely is right up that alley. Next up are 2 volumes of Blue Period, volumes 10 and 11. I feel like we're just getting Blue Period volumes just rapid fire in the last couple months. I didn't necessarily enjoy the direction of this new series, but now that I've got a good chunk of volumes in, I think I'm gonna go ahead and read this entire arc and see, hopefully my opinions change. Next up is Dragon Quest: The Adventures of Dai, volumes 4 and 5, and this finishes the Disciples of Avon arc. Now, this whole series is 37 volumes, and this omnibus compiles the first 7.5 volumes. So Viz has made no announcement about, hey, we're gonna keep going with this series. I think they wanted to see how the sales of this first arc went. Apparently they didn't go so well, which is super disappointing because I absolutely love Dragon Quest. I thought this was really good, which is such a disappointment because I think this series is super underrated. Just old school classic Shonen Jump battle stuff. So if you are into the Dragon Quest video games, or you just want some super easy light reading fantasy, highly recommend. Hopefully we can get the rest of the series. Now, next up here is a total unexpected buy. I was walking in my Barnes and Nobles at the university that I attend currently and work at, and I was like, oh, let me just check out the manga section. They're doing a buy 2 get 1 free, and I saw this series and I was like, I guess I'll pick it up, and that is Mobile Suit Gundam Thunderbolt volumes 1 to 3. Now, Otaku Mike and the Manga Sloth have said amazing things about this series, and I was like, well, you know, go ahead and give it a shot, and they are totally right. If you haven't been following me on Instagram, highly recommend you do it, because basically all I've been talking about the last 2 weeks is Gundam. I have a big Gundam unboxing coming up very soon on this channel. I've been loving Gundam Seed. It's just, oh man, I just love Gundam. And Thunderbolt is no different. It basically follows 2 different sides who are going to war in the Thunderbolt sector, and we have 2 main characters. Basically, we have a guy who controls a mobile suit, and then we have the other guy who is a elite sniper, and they are just going to battle, and then they are just destroying everybody else. So yeah, very interesting politics, beautiful artwork, great release by Viz. They are more expensive at $15 a volume, but highly worth it. If you are looking for a Gundam manga and you already have the Origins manga, highly recommend Thunderbolt. Next up here is a non-fiction manga, actually. This is Ichi F. This is a worker's graphic memoir of the Fukushima nuclear power plant. I've been in the mood to read some non-fiction manga. I've been really interested in this earthquake from 2011 and the nuclear power plant reaction because of it, and so I thought, hey, might as well pick up the manga for this. I picked this up off of Better World Books, and they were like, oh, this is a hardcover, and I was like, oh, cool. I got it, and it was a paperback, but even worse, it was a library copy. It was $7, so whatever. It goes for, like, I think the retail, what's the retail here? $25 retail. So I mean, look, $7, I mean, that's not, it's a drop in the bucket. But honestly, yeah, I'm having to take all these stickers off. It's a pain in the butt. what. Next up here is Hell in a Bottle from Kodansha, and if I can explain this, this is basically a picture book adaptation of a famous short story from the 1920s, and it basically follows a brother and a sister who are on an island and they are trying to survive and wait for rescue. Beautiful art, honestly one of the top 5 art in all that I've read this year, so if anything you should pick this up because it's a beautiful art book, but the story itself is quite interesting. I think there are 2 more coming out from this same series of short stories. I will be picking it up. Yes, this is a little bit more expensive, but it's cool that we're getting stuff like this. I'm glad Kodansha's decided to put this out, so I highly recommend supporting this endeavor. So next up here is Don't Toy With Me, Miss Nagatoro volume 13, and honestly Nagatoro is just like the fine wine of rom-com. It just gets better with age. Each volume has just gotten so much better, especially the last 3 volumes. I've been loving what we've been seeing with this series. I love the relationship between Senpai and Nagatoro, and I just cannot wait to see what they do next. Next up here is a one-shot actually, Sky Grazer. This is from the same, wow, this is upside down. Sky Grazer, this is the same mangaka who does Heavenly Delusion. So this is a mystery sci-fi thriller about these boys who are in this maze-like labyrinth apartment complex. Seems super interesting. I love one-shots. Gonna give this a try. If I enjoy it, then I'll definitely pick up Heavenly Delusion. Next up is Welcome to the Ballroom volume 11. I picked up volumes 1 to 10 in a used local manga shopping vlog. I've heard great things about the manga. I heard the art is fantastic. It's a very different take on sports because it's ballroom dancing, but I am excited that we got a new release of this, so I am super excited to go ahead and check this out when I'm in the mood to read some sports manga. Next up here is a manhwa from Yen Press and Ise Press. This is Daughter of the Emperor volume 2. I read volume 1. I did an unboxing and a review of this on my channel. Highly recommend you check that out. I'll leave a little card, but I really enjoyed this. Even though there are some issues with it, it's got a pretty low rating, but I do recommend you give it a shot. So I am super excited to see what volume 2 brings. I think that this can be something really special, and I love the dynamic between the 2 main characters. So next up here is a manga I've wanted to get into for a while, but I've never just bit the bullet and decided to grab it. I just picked up the first volume, and that is Uncle from Another World volume 1. The anime got released to great acclaim. Super funny isekai about this uncle guy, and he's like into video games, and it's got a lot of references to like 90s stuff, so it seems like something I'm really gonna enjoy. I like the artwork, and obviously I'm looking for more comedy isekai, so this was definitely something I had to pick up. Next up here is another new release. We have Witch Hat Atelier volume 10. I have volumes 1 to 9 on my shelf, so eventually I will get to this critically acclaimed Eisner Award winner fantasy series. And speaking of Eisner Award, this is really interesting. They actually put the Eisner Award label right on here, so that's super cool. Great job, Kodansha. Next up here is a new release from Ise Press to announce their start of the new branch from Yen Press. We have The Remarried Empress, and this basically follows a emperor and an empress. They are together, then the emperor becomes smitten with a mistress, so instead of her wallowing in her depression, she decides to get back. She's got all this anger and she's ready to go to town. I've heard really great things about this manhwa. It seems that Ise Press is really listening to their audience and getting the licenses that people want to get physical releases of. We've got some great stuff coming out with The Boxer and Horizon, so super excited to see where this company goes. But for right now, we have The Remarried Empress. I cannot wait to get into this one. And next up here is the last volume of Urusei Yatsura volume 16, so this compiles volumes 31 and 32. But I love Rumiko Takahashi, and this is one of her first manga to win an award and put her name on the map. But this series is a sci-fi space comedy about this girl who invades Earth with a bunch of aliens, and basically there has to be a relationship to happen for the Earth to be saved. So of course they get into crazy comedic hijinks, but yes, you've got the classic Rumiko Takahashi art. I cannot wait to get into this one. Next up here is a light novel from Yen Press, 86 volume 11. I'm currently reading this. I'm on volume 9, I think, so I'm 3 volumes behind. I really need to get back on this train because this is one of the best light novels I've ever read. If you're looking for messed up political sci-fi mecha stuff, then this is gonna be the manga. You know what's funny? I was about to open this up and show you guys pictures, but it's a light novel. There's a all word. I'm just so embarrassed. But yes, it is a little bit thick at times in terms of word density and trying to follow what's going on. But if you really pay attention, you're going to be rewarded with a phenomenal world, fantastic characters, and great action. Next up here is Colorless Volume 2. I feel like Volume 1 came out a while ago, but this is a steampunk mecha series about how they use color as a weapon source. Seems kind of interesting. The first volume was like all action and no substance, to be honest with you. So hopefully we get more of the lore of the story in this volume. But honestly, this is one of those, hey, I'm going to give it one more volume, and if it doesn't work, then I'm going to go ahead and get rid of it. Next up here is one of my most underrated series of 2022, and that is Crossplay Love Otaku X Punk. So this is a really funny series. You've got two boys who cross-dress as girls because they want to get into relationships with the boy. So there's like basically like 4 different combinations of relationships you can have in this story, and it's really funny. This manga dives into all those different relationships. I really like this rom-com, and I think that it's very diverse, and the artwork is great, the pacing is fun, I love the side characters. Highly recommend this series. Next up here is a 2-volume series. Not sure if it was canceled or what, but this is Magia the Ninth from Seven Seas. This is a really interesting story. The reason why I picked this up was because it basically follows this guy right here who teams up with these Magia wizards to fight demons, but these wizards are all composers like Beethoven and Tchaikovsky and stuff like that. So no, I haven't read this yet. I think just on a rainy day, I'm gonna go ahead and binge these 2 volumes, just get it out of the way to see if this is any good. Apparently it's hot trash on my anime list, but hey, I'm all about hot trash. Next up here is Shaman King Omnibus 11. So this compiles volumes 31, 32, and 33. I'm actually 2 omnibuses behind on Shaman King now. I really need to get back on this train. It's a good Shonen Jump series. It's not gonna blow your mind, but I really like the progression of the series in the last 5 or 6 volumes. So I'm super excited to see how this ends. Very much has a kiddish feeling, but if you can get past that at the beginning, you'll be rewarded with a really cool world. Continuing on here, we have Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid Volume 8. I just need Volume 6 and I will have all 12 volumes up to date of this series. I basically was waiting on getting this volume back in stock after getting several volumes from the Right Stuff summer sale back in June, but obviously Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, I don't need to say anything about the series. Everybody knows it. Super excited to read it. Absolutely love this artwork. Such great, unique character design. Next up is an isekai, The Savior's Book Cafe Story in Another World Volume 4. This is the penultimate volume. We have one more left, and I will be so sad when this series is over because this is definitely one of the most underrated reads of 2022. We're continuing a brand new arc from Volume 3. I really love this isekai. If you want something warm and fluffy, fantasy story with a great MC, very interesting relationship, pretty cool world with great powers, highly recommend this. Next up here is a continuation of one of my favorite first volumes I've ever read in manga, and that is Shadow's House Volume 2. So this series basically follows these living dolls who are spitting images of these shadows, and they basically work to portray the emotions of these shadows. But this is a slice of life series actually, with a lot of unique lore, interesting characters, so I cannot wait to get into this volume. I just loved Volume 1. I love the main character Emiliko so much. We just have to protect her. She's just so innocent and sweet. Here we are with Fire Force Volume 29. We are in the last arc. Volume 28 left with the big cliffhanger. I just love this series so much. I think what we've been seeing in the last 5-6 volumes have been phenomenal. This series ends at 34 volumes, so we're just sprinting right towards the end. Here we go with a new Volume 1. This is Touring After the Apocalypse from Yen Press, and the only reason why I got this is because it's slice of life. I love apocalypse manga, so I'd go ahead and give this a shot. Do I think this is going to be as good as Girls Last Tour and that other manga from Seven Seas that just got published that's super critically acclaimed? Absolutely not, but hey, you know what? Let's go ahead and give this a try, see if I like it. You know, flipping through this manga, the artwork is really unexpected. It's super cute for being super depressing, so it'll be interesting to see what this is all about. Here we go with the BL title. This is Haranu and Kagura Volume 1. So this is the, I don't know if you call this a sequel, side series, accompaniment piece, I'm not sure, to Sasaki and Miyano, the highly acclaimed boys love series. I have all those 6 volumes on my shelf, so I definitely want to get into that before I get into this, but I really just need to see what this hype is about because a lot of people have said this is just a super heartwarming BL. Here we are with another volume 1 slice of life. We have Futari Escape, a Yuri series about 2 girls who are just kind of on the cogs of working. Actually, this girl's on the cogs of working. She's unemployed and just lounges around all day, but they're really both slackers and they go through their daily life doing things and avoiding work. That's basically what this manga is about. So I only picked this up because it looked super cute and I love slice of life. Give it a shot, see what I think. Next up here is an unexpected read actually. This is Phantom of the Idol Volume 3. I did the Volume 1 first impressions of this series right here on the channel. Highly recommend you check it out. But yeah, like I said, super unexpected. It's funny enough, it's interesting enough, not the best thing in the world, but at 5 volumes, it's kind of on a 1 volume rule. I'm gonna give this one another volume, and if I don't like it here, I'm gonna go ahead and axe it, but at least for right now, I'm entertained enough. And speaking of wholesome slice of life manga, we have the ultimate slice of life manga, Skip and Loafer Volume 6. I loved Volume 5. We went back to the main thing being the main thing with our 2 phenomenal MCs, so I cannot wait to get into Volume 6 to see how awesome this series gets. I feel like we're gonna add some more drama in here, which is exciting, so yes, but I love our main character girl right here. Honestly, probably one of my favorite MCs so far this year. Continuing on the reprint train, actually. Now, this should have just gone in the reprint section, but it just got buried, I guess. We have Yu Yu Hakusho Volume 3 by Tagashi Sensei, same guy who did Hunter x Hunter. Critically acclaimed series. Super glad that we're getting reprints of this. This is slower releasing than Slam Dunk and all those other reprints, so I don't know if we're going to finish reprinting this by 2023, but at least my order is in line so that they can send me 1 volume at a time when it gets reprinted. Here we are with a manga from Kaiten Books. This is My Dad's the Queen of All VTubers Volume 2. Very funny Volume 1. Basically about this dad who's a VTuber and then this son who also gets into VTubing because of the dad, and then the hilarious relationship between those two. Fantastic series. It's only 3 volumes, so if you want something super lighthearted, something really stupid, then I highly recommend this manga. Here we are with Ex Yakuza and Stray Kitten Volume 1, new series. It's got a Yakuza, it's got a cute kitten, and that's why I bought it. That's it. More reprints coming in here. We have Yu-Gi-Oh! Omnibus 8. So I have the back half of Yu-Gi-Oh! And also the very first Omnibus. I'm waiting for Omnibuses 2 to 7 to reprint, and then I can go ahead and read this series. Hopefully this doesn't go out of print. They just say, hey, we're not going to reprint this anymore. But at least for right now, we're slowly getting these out. Here we are with Beyond the Promised Neverland short stories. This is just a single volume here, but this is just a one shot. It has an epilogue in here. It has some short stories. When I read Promised Neverland, I will give this one a shot. But yes, obviously I've heard great things about Promised Neverland, specifically from Himeka. It's just so far in the backlog, and I think that I should just go ahead and bump this one up. Next up here is Mao Volume 8 from Rumiko Takahashi, her newest serializing work. Supernatural vibes, very similar to Inuyasha with time travel, so eventually I'll be getting into this. And last but not least, a continuation from a phenomenal Volume 1 in my personal opinion. This is Kimono Jihen Volume 2. I love the main characters. I love the group of kids. I like the supernatural vibes, very reminiscent of Bungo Stray Dogs, but just a little bit more laid back in the demeanor. But yeah, I'm super excited to see where Volume 2 goes. I can't wait to see how these characters continue to interact and this world continues to expand. So that is it for my manga haul for November 2022. I am so done with buying manga. I bought some more stuff that's coming in at the beginning of December. After that, oh man, I just need to read. As always, if you enjoy my videos, please hit that like button, tap the subscribe button, hit that notification bell so that you know when more of my videos come out, and I will see you in the next one. Take care now. Bye-bye.